Okay, no, now it smells like
It was oceanic.
it definitely. This tea smells like what it's supposed to smell like when you have like a good. I mean, I would say this is beyond middle aged. I mean, this is from 2000,
2000. Yeah,
and
it,
it's.
it definitely has a. I can't pinpoint what this smell is to me, but it's definitely it's like a.
I call it the It's like it's the Chinese date smell.
Is that jujube?
Yeah, it's like the jujube smell. It's also kind of like
It's like seaweed. It's got kind of like a seaweed quality.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what
Yeah, there's that quality. And then it's almost like with like a mulberry sweetness, and like because this is an Yiwu tea, it definitely has like a honey note. And you could taste it more when we get into actually drinking it. But that smell is like it's like a golden it's like a golden smell to me.
Yep.
Because the color of the brew too, it has that nice amber, kind of dark amber, like it even looks like honey.
Mine is a dark.
Yeah. It's pretty dark. Yeah, that's a nice tea soup right there. It's very smooth.
Yeah, it's got no sharpness to it. None of that young shun
Yeah.
sharpness, astringency.
Yeah, it has like pretty much it feels like it's like only what you want.
It feels very like mineral rich.
Yes. Because you smelling that seaweed, it transfers in the flavor, like not like a seaweed flavor, but definitely like a nutrient, mineral rich. Oh yeah, it was stored for 5 years in Hong Kong and then in Guangzhou for the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Storage has been very clean. Yeah, you can tell that. And it's like top grade because it's the G-Pin.
I like it so far. After first steeping. All right, this steeping has a little bit more of a bite on it for me.
Yeah, just a little bit. You got kids over there? Am I hearing kids over here? Or kids over there?
I have no kids. I'm not, unless they're ghost children.
It's our kids. It's our kids over there.
Right.
But still, though, I wouldn't call it a bite as much as I would call it it's like a pet. It's like petting me.
No, it's not a bite. It's like, but it has that, like, and it coats my tongue. It's got that astringent. Yeah.
It should, like, this tea definitely has a long aftertaste. Mm-hmm. It lingers.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to do that. That's like what happens with these Yiwu teas. Mm-hmm. It definitely has that like a bright note.
Yep, I get that.
Like a ripe fruit or something.
Yeah, it has. I feel like it has more brightness than it does earth, like, that typical aged Sheng Puerh earthy notes. It has less of that.
Yeah. It's all. To me, some of these teas have like almost like a raisin-y quality.
Yep.
Wow. Now it's just like this, like kind of. It's a darker red brew, but it's like it's like bright though. It's bright and dark.
Yep.
It's a beautiful
Yeah,
color.
this is my third steeping.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. Oh yeah, now see, you know, now it almost has that that honey. It has that honeyed quality, but there's some mates that I've had that taste
it
like
does
this.
taste like a latte.
Yeah, like a. Well, it's definitely like an aged flavor. Wow, it's just really good, whatever that is. Wow, I feel like the third steeping had everything that was good about the first and second steeping, and then it didn't have like that, like what you were in the second steeping was a little bit like what you were saying was kind of like the bite. It didn't have that
Yeah.
in the third steeping. It was more of like everything was happening.
It got
Was-
rounded off. Yeah.
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 Because I have my small pot, just for reference, brewing out of a 60 milliliter pot.
Mine's
believe
50.
50. Yeah, my like the leaf is like pretty much like my pot is like, now that the leaves are open, probably 3/4 of the way filled up.
Mine's probably like 90%.
Yeah, that's about for me. Maybe it's more than 3/4, probably 80%. Anyways, it's fairly full. Fourth, yeah. And the smell is definitely starting to smell like a good aged Sheng smell. Like I can smell like the camphor quality, like a little bit of the kind of minty freshness.
Mhm.
And this tea definitely has like a lingering. It's not only sweet, but it's like
So I just want to note, like energetically, I'm now starting to feel some changes happening.
I definitely feel it in my chest and in my head.
Yeah.
Like
It's like
probably
the
more,
kind of thing that brightens the eyes.
yeah.
You know, like I felt like before this I needed to take a nap, but now I don't need to take a nap anymore, basically.
Yeah, I call it like it's like, well, it's not just the halo, because it's like if the halo kind of like played around with like going to the level of like where your eyes are and then kind of go up and down. It kind of like, it almost like rests like right below the eyes, like on the higher cheeks, and then kind of comes up and around the head. Wow. Here, try that. It's definitely like a strong tea, but like
Kind of reminds me of a black tea. Like not
Yeah.
like black teas like Chinese black, but like an English breakfast black tea, you know. Got like a quality to that.
when I had this tea, because we had this tea the other day, and I had it out of like the bigger pot and an Yixing clay pot, whereas this is like it's a clay pot but not Yixing. This tea, like when I drank it, and I'm also experiencing what you're saying. It tastes like tea. You know, it's like
Right.
this
Yeah.
is tea.
This is tea. Yeah.
Like if anybody were to drink this tea, they wouldn't have to be really skilled tea drinker to recognize this as tea when they drink it, and to recognize it as good tea, like, because it's very palatable. Like it's very enjoyable to drink this tea. It tastes good, and it has the energy. Like it's definitely like an invigorating energy. Like it's like kind of a swelling energy.
But it's kind of like that energetic sense feeling that I think why people drink tea in the morning, but without just cut out the bad things that brings along with it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's energizing without the jittery.
Yeah.
So this is the 5th steeping. But it's also like a hearty. It feels hearty.
It is. It's definitely a hearty tea.
So I don't know if this is like necessarily the tea that I would reach for in my current situation where I'm in the desert in 105-degree heat.
Mhm.
It seems like this tea, obviously the price point, it's not a daily drinker. And it's definitely not a tea, even just overall, I could tell it's not a tea that you would probably have regularly. But man, if you were having a day, like this would be a tea to go to. Like if you needed something and other things weren't working, like this would work. Like I
Right.
feel like this tea would work like to really shift a gnarly mood or something. Because I already felt pretty great before having this tea, but now I just feel like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very noticeably a good tea. Like it's
Mhm.
just there's not much to fault. I can't really find anything to fault this tea with, you know? Maybe in the second steeping I would have been like, well, I guess I could say this about it. But now at this point, I just feel like it's only whatever the aging process, wherever it's at right now, it's like pretty much most of anything that would have been uncomfortable about the tea is like completely is not there anymore.
Right. Yeah. Whew.
Is it warming for you? Or are you just hot out?
It's definitely warm. I was not, I mean, it's hot here, but I wasn't sweating before I drank this tea.
Okay, yeah. Because obviously I'm in a different climate. It's been kind of raining here the past couple of days. And it was honestly a chilly day yesterday. So I know that that's not your experience right now.
No.
But I don't feel right now, I don't feel like a huge difference in my overall body temp. But I think that I actually was in a cooler state,
Mhm.
and even my meal was more cooling. Like I had more of like a fresh salad. So I think that this is just, I know that it's warming me up, but it's not noticeable right now. If that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That yeah. So this is number 6.
6.
Alice's mom with her dad. Look at that column of light and lightning strike.
Wow. Show what you said.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Just yeah. Lightning
Awesome
bolts. Lightning bolts are coming through during this session here.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Great. Hey, so
Awesome.
speaking of that, I mean, lightning actually is a good kind of word to start a list. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, lightning. Isn't
Oh.
that amazing with that column of light?
Yeah.
With that said,
That's in Mexico.
is this number 6?
It's number 6, yes.
This steeping is amazing. I feel like now we're really in there.
Yep.
We've
So the thing that I referenced that happened on steeping number 2, from 3 to 5, it was being rounded out. Like already on 3, it was already being rounded out by other elements of the tea. But now it's like completely gone, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's completely under the radar.
Now we're at
And
we're in the deeper level of the tea. Like we got through some of the personality part, like,
right.
Okay, and now we're like, whoa, okay, we're into like the soul of the tea. Like,
right. If you made it this far.
keep going. I just love how like with each steeping, like that, since we're having these like fairly close together as we should, that this taste in my mouth like never dissipates. Like it's just always in there. So I think that also could be like, oh, this tea is strong. Like when I inhale through my mouth, it definitely has that cooling sensation in the mouth, and that, yeah, like that returning sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely feels cleansing, like
Purifying, yeah.
purifying for sure. Like I feel, because I ate like an hour ago.
I did too, yeah.
And so I'm glad that I think this tea is really good to have like after a meal, like an hour or two after a meal, like you had a solid amount of food in your stomach.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to do this one on an empty stomach.
I wouldn't recommend it. It seems like that's the only thing that would really make it like uncomfortable is if you didn't, if you were already empty.
Mm-hmm.
This tea though, even though it's strong, it's not putting a pressure on me. I don't feel, you know, some teas can like kind of that are strong can like almost feel like it taxes you a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Or you have to like kind of give it some, you know? This tea is just
seven steeping.
So, what were you saying about lightning or as a list?
Oh yeah, like thinking of names.
Oh.
So, you know, there's noticing different words that have come up. You know, so honey lightning, no.
Honey light.
But the lightning, I think, is good. It's like, because it's a moving column of energy. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit too. It's maybe not exactly coherent with this tea.
I like the moving column of energy type of thing there.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely feels like more of a direct path to God.
Mm.
It's definitely more of a direct path. You know how there's some paths that are a little more windy road?
Yeah.
And then there's ones that are more like, that's a straight line.
Right. Direct path to God.
This tea is very much like kind of more, I guess it does have, obviously it has, if I were like not talking and kind of drinking this more in a contemplative, like silent place, the subtleties of this tea would probably really, you know, come. This is definitely a tea that you could sit with over time and really, because it would change. It changes too, because like even though I had it a week ago, like you know, we got the shipment in, and you know how like when you get a tea shipment, it's good to wait a little bit because it's still kind of like, you know, it's been through a lot. You know, it just it has jet lag or whatever. You know, like it needs to kind of be in your space a little bit, ideally. But this tea definitely is still changing. Like probably not as much as like a younger tea would be changing, but.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good candidate, direct path. I like it.
Yeah.
Because too, you know, the thing about a direct path, I think it reflects that it's more of like it's not a daily drinker. You specifically choose call upon it when you need it. So that to me also is like the direct channel. Like you don't necessarily go there all the time. By the way, are you on the 8th steeping?
Yes.
So this for me, like there's a sweetness that turned on in the steeping. It's like super sweet now.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's starting. We're getting deeper and deeper into the leaf and the stem.
But I think that's also notable about this tea is how there's like different levels. It's all coherent, but there's definitely different attributes to each level, which isn't the case for a lot of teas. Like a lot of times it's just like, it'll get darker, but it doesn't change radically in terms of its profile. Like this one actually has different profiles.
Yeah.
At the different steepings.
This tea, every steeping is a person. Like there is definitely a different episode each steeping.
So okay, so different angles. So direct path, but also like descent, you know, maybe like a descent and multiple levels of descent, you know, like
of descent,
like you're descending into something and it's multiple layers. So like descent into the underworld, essentially, you know. And at each stage of it, you know, there's maybe different tests and different teachings and whatever.
As
maybe descent into truth.
I feel like this tea has like a well, it's a, it has an inherent it's inherently sweet. Like what's
Yeah.
coming out is what's inherent to it. It's like
But it's interesting, right? Like to get to this, the sweetness was always there, but to really get to it in its full expression, you had to go through some more challenging aspects, you know?
yeah, but you wanted to.
Right.
You wouldn't want it any other way.
You were supported.
But if there weren't challenges, then this tea would not be that great.
Right.
Like if it were only like the thing that you get to, but not the journey along the way,
Right.
then it's like you didn't have the adventure. It's just like watching like Lord of the Rings, but you just zoom into the part where they're all like
Celebrating. Right.
It's just like, wow, this movie sucks. Like they're just,
Why?
just people going like this, like haha.
Why is
They're
the
like-
king bowing down to the hobbits? You're like,
It's like-
wait, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm just like, wait a second. This is definitely a tea that would be fascinating to drink with a group of people.
Yep. Yep.
We'd have to see what like what if the whole world drank this tea at the same time?
I don't know.
Wow, I think
I don't think there's enough.
this would be very helpful for people.
Yep.
Because I feel definitely, maybe it's how I was already feeling, and maybe it's not just this tea, but I definitely feel inspired.
Mhm.
Like I
The
feel
Blue
like
Eagle Day.
it's creative. I feel like I have ideas that are good. I have you too, so we can like spin. You know, it's like this is
Yeah.
definitely a tea that would be easier to come up with the name for because it has a very
Right.
coherent but dynamic expression.
Well, even in the talking of the names, it's saying something like, because each of the names wasn't just about a name, it was about an exploration. And I think
Yeah.
right, that's notable because you were talking about direct path, but then it was, okay, well, what does that mean? And I was talking about descent into the underworld. What does that mean? So I think that there's a clarifying. Well, lapis is all about clarity, right? So there's definitely like a clarifying aspect.
Third eye vision.
So that's another
it's very
useful
Clarifying.
aspect.
It's highly clarifying. I feel very clear that I am glad that I ordered this tea.
So this is 12th steeping for me. And I noticed with the last steeping that I noticed that aspect of a tea where like it's just indicating it's starting to like kind of like come down in terms of its flavor palette, in terms of what it's going to express in a flavor sort of way, in a sensual kind of way. Energetically, I'm not feeling it come down, but you know, so you know,
Yeah, the colors better.
yeah. But also the water taste is starting to come through. That's what I'm getting at. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this tea is showing up for you, it means that you're working on pushing your edge, which is essentially growth, because feeling your edge means about to cross a boundary. You know, essentially back to the Lord of the Rings reference, the whole movie but at some point is about Frodo and Sam leaving the Shire, and then they stop right at the edge of where they know they've never been before. And then beyond that edge is the true transformational journey, right? And none of it was necessarily comfortable, but they managed, you know, they got through it. Be present, basically, like you were saying, like everything is happening. Manage it by being present and accepting. Resistance is the gray. Resistance is non-acceptance of what is. It's not about light and shadow, essentially, because being present is about going through both what you experience as light and shadow. But gray is about not playing the game. Gray is about thinking that you're gonna, sit on the bench, but that's not really a possibility right now.
It's cool when you experience that, like in podcasting, like listen to a podcast or a video or something, when you can hear the host and the guest or whatever, like the conversation is a portal to like, oh, they're like kind of merging energies and it's like harmonious.
Right. Yeah.
It's like when you hear like, oh, a musician having a conversation with another musician with their instrument, and you're like, wow, that sounds awesome. Like you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's
Right.
really
It's the
cool.
difference between like sitting in Times Square and being bombarded by traffic and sitting on the bank of the river and hearing, the sound of the water. Because the sounds that a river makes, or the ocean, I mean, it is in a sense the sound of acceptance, like, because the water hits rocks, it runs into obstacles, but it gives so freely to go around it. And in its doing of that, it emits a sound. So that sound is kind of a code of how you navigate obstacles, which is why it's so peaceful to sit by water, I think.
Mm. Wow.
And why it's not peaceful to sit amidst traffic and all other kinds of, disharmonious noise.
Even in later steepings, like it because it's such a good tea, it doesn't that classic spent leaf taste,
Yeah.
like where it's getting to the end, and like especially when you smell the leaf too, you can kind of smell, okay,
Yeah,
it's coming.
there's nothing in it. Yeah.
But since this is just so overtly sweet at this point, it's just so pleasant that you want to just keep drinking it this way.
Yeah, it's still really nice. I mean, we've easily been drinking this for an hour. So like, it's been a journey, and we don't have to say what the journey has been because it's documented, and people can get it, just experience it. But like you said, it'd be great to drink with people because it kind of like takes you through that arc and it brings you down really gently. Like it's coming down and then plateaus at a really nice place,
It does. And at this point, it tastes like honey water.
Yeah.
It literally has that feeling of effect when you drink hot water or warm water with a little bit of honey. Like that would be relaxing, right? It
kind of tastes like a white tea right now, like the fifth or sixth steeping of a white tea,
Yeah. When you have an aged Sheng Puerh, an aged tea, you could see how it is showing you like, oh, all the different flavors of tea, like throughout an experience. It's like,
right.
Oh, it kind of tastes like a white tea. Oh, kind of tastes like a black tea. I'm confident that there were times when it tasted like an oolong too. Like it tastes like a good tea, and not just like, okay, this tastes like an aged Sheng Puerh. Like it's like what Sheng Puerh is, like an aged Sheng Puerh can be this experience of, because it's oxidizing through being aged in an intentional way. It's like all these different flavors that are inherent to the leaf as it matures and it's been taken care of. That's one reason why this tea is inspiring to me, is because there's so many experiences that I had just in this one experience.
And I'm definitely like, this is my 19th or 20th steeping, and it's still going. It's easy. You could easily continue to drink this. So, yeah.
And I'm totally getting that moonlight white kind of white tea, like a fruity white tea. At this steeping, I think I'm around 19 or 20 as well.